Hey guys, welcome back. Kamina the coach here. Can I start off by saying things aren't important to me? So I'm starting to run out of clothes for for these videos. All of my life fits in two bags. I have no attachment to things. So you're about to start seeing things repeated over and over again. Don't judge me. This is me being vulnerable. So today we're going to get to the subject that I wanted to talk about last time. And I know that so many people are going to be excited to hear about this. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. I'm just kidding. But really, we're going to talk about what is love, right? So before we talk about what love is, we'll talk about what love isn't. And in discovering what love is, I'm able to be very honest and say, I don't think that I've ever experienced love, um, not by the family that adopted me. I'm divorced twice. I don't think I was in love either of those times, nor was I loved. And I think probably the only time I have loved or been loved is with my best friend. So let's talk about why. All right, so let's talk about what love is not. What is love not? Love is not a feeling. It's not. Love is not a feeling. So let's talk about why. What happens to you? Let's talk about scientifically. You know, I like to connect science to a lot of the things that I talk about because it helps those of us that are spiritual or religious um, make a concrete connection to real life. So let's talk about the science of the brain. What happens when you fall in love? So when you fall, or when that feeling of falling in love, and the saying falling in love is very flagrant. We're talking about a life decision here. So this feeling that you feel when you fall in love, this butterflies in your stomach, this intense physical attraction, your heart beats fast. What's going on in your brain? So your pleasure receptors in your brains are being stimulated with excessive amounts of dopamine and serotonin. These are the same chemicals that are released when you're doing drugs, illegal drugs, or drinking alcohol. The pleasure sensors of the brain are being stimulated. So, what happens over prolonged periods of time when someone is using a lot of drugs and there is excess stimulation of these pleasure sensors, excess production of dopamine and serotonin? So, okay, so Sarah meets Johnny. Sarah has hearts and stars. Johnny has stars and halos. And so, in their brain, in Sarah's brain, excessive amounts of serotonin. Johnny's brain, excessive amounts of dopamine. So they're around each other and they're around each other and they're around each other day in and day out. So, what happens when we have excessive use of drugs? We end up building up a tolerance, right? So, that's what we call the honeymoon phase, right? So, when a couple is first married or when a couple first gets together, when everything is all wonderful, it's all stars and hearts, and they never fight about anything. We're still in the honeymoon phase. Why? Why are we still in the honeymoon phase? Because the brain is still producing excessive amounts of dopamine and serotonin. You're high on love. So it's actually possible to be addicted to being in love, but it's not really love. This is just really a chemical reaction, a purely physical chemical reaction. Why does that happen? Scientists make some guesses. I really like in the book, The Road Less Traveled. I'll give you a quote from that book later. The doctor who wrote that book actually says that he thinks, and others have guessed this as well, that this initial attraction happens to lay the groundwork for what is real love. Okay? So now we've talked about what love is not. So we know that love is not a feeling. That fluffy, flurry of feelings, but we know that love can be the foundation, right? Or that feeling that we have when we think we're falling in love can be the foundation for real love. So let me read you the definition. So the doctor's name is Dr. Scott Peck, and it's an old book. So what brought me to this? So I really suggest that you pick up a book by an author named Bell Hooks, Bellhooks, all about love. It's a very easy read, and it's an amazing read about what love is and what love isn't. So Dr. Hooks recommended this book by Dr. Scott Peck, and it's a very old book, actually. I think it was published in like 79. So Dr. Peck defines love as the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. One more time. He defines love as the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. So, what are we saying here? So, in me choosing to love you, I am either developing you spiritually or I'm developing myself spiritually. So, in this process of us loving, we are growing as spiritual beings. Now, whether you're religious, whether you believe in something, whether you don't, if you're not growing, right, if you're not moving forward in your life, then it's just natural. The whole universe is in a state of regression. Everything is born to die. We are in a state of atrophy. We are going backwards. So if we are not pushing ourselves to move forward, we're in essence dying. From the time we're born, we move forward to a point and then we are dying. So the act of love is actually committing to the growth of the other and to the growth of yourself. It's kind of amazing, right? But don't let the fluffy frill seduce you, because what love is a choice. It's a commitment to stay conscious, to stay aware. It's hard work. Love is not a feeling. That feeling that you get in the beginning can build the foundation for the hard work to come. But that feeling in the beginning, never be mistaken, is not love. Love is a choice. Love is a commitment to the growth of the other and to your own personal growth. Right? I hope that you take something special from this today, because society really has us believing in that fairy tale romance, and that's just not the case. When we see love more realistically, we're able to approach it more realistically and have a chance at something true and lasting. So thanks for joining me, guys. Kamina the coach here, wishing you love, light, and happiness. Peace, guys.